Hey guys, welcome to Bible, Beers, and Man Stuff. I'm John. Thank you for checking out this video. Hey, what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to show you how I make my catfish noodles. These are noodles that we drop out in the lake and just to fish for our catfish. I have different depths. I have 4 footers, 6 footers, 8 footers, 10 footers. I think even have a 12 footer or so here. And here's my bucket of noodles. Now all of these are in great shape, and man, we have caught a ton of catfish on these things. But I'm getting ready to go catfishing again for our men's ministry at Victory Church, and we're having a big fish fry, so I got to get out there and catch a lot of catfish for that. So in doing so, I need to do a little repair on a couple of my noodles. I have 20, and that's usually what I drop at a time and go back and check them. But 2 of them, last time I went out, 2 of them broke. I mean, I was hung up. Actually, one of them I was hung up in the rocks, and the only way I could get it out was to break it. And the other one, I think I must have been hung up on something as well. It wasn't a fish, but I was hung up on something and I broke it also. So we broke 2 of them our last time out, and so I need to repair those. And so I thought I would just share with you how I rig up my catfish noodles. Now, if you ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different methods. You're going to get 10 different ways. So what I'm sharing with you is not the way. It is simply a way to rig up for catfish. Whatever works for you, do whatever works for you. But for those of you that may not know this concept, it goes back to the old days. I remember when I was growing up, we used milk jugs. And just turn them upside down, put the lid on them, and tie the line to it, and drop them and let them float around and what have you. That's what we used way back in the day. Then from there, we progressed to if you remember the 1 quart, like Haveline oil, Valvoline oil, Pennzoil oil. They came in those plastic 1 quart jugs. We even used those. For the ones that weren't bright yellow, we would spray bright yellow on the bottom of them, throw them out in the lake. I ran across these a few years back. I actually saw a guy out at the lake fishing with these, and he was pulling them in, and so I eased up by there next to him, asked what he was doing. He told me I'd never seen this until then. So I've been using these probably for about 5 years or so now. They last a long time. Occasionally you'll break a couple. So I'm going to show you what I do. Here's one that's a 4-footer that I have for more shallow water. And just kind of depends on the depth of water you're in. I drop them accordingly off my gauge and my mapping system electronics. Lets me know how deep we are, so I drop them accordingly. But it's just simple. This is a 3/4 inch PVC pipe. Okay, cap on each end, 3/4 inch PVC pipe. Get it at any hardware store. Put a solid cap on this end. Now, if you hear on the inside, there's a piece of rebar in there, probably about that long, that I put inside each one of these. And the way you kind of set it, the way I do it, is I put the rebar on the end that's going to come up. So it's on the far right end, and then this obviously is the line that is in the water. Okay, so this is out there just floating like that, but when a catfish hits it, that rebar goes down. It just kind of helps it stay afloat. And then when it starts dancing around like this in the water, oftentimes it go completely underwater and out of sight and come back up. You know you got a big one when that happens. You just go chase down the noodle and pull in the catfish. Well, 2 of them broke on me, so I thought I would share with you how I rig up my catfish noodles. First of all, we come from the hook, on the end of the hook here, on this cap. I've got a little eyelet hook that's in there. Now, you can't see it, and I've got it all glued up here, but on the inside of that, I've got a big washer and a nut, and I've got it screwed on really tight, okay? So it's not just threaded into the plastic. It's an actual nut that goes in there, an eyelet on this eye bolt that goes in there with a nut, a big washer and a nut on the back side of it, and I tighten it down with a wrench with my fingers to get it good and tight, so therefore it's not coming off of there, okay? Then I just use a key ring, one of the most durable key rings that I can buy. Matter of fact, all of these rings I get just at the local hardware store, so you can pick that up there. So I get a key ring, and I put the key ring on the little eyelet of the noodle. Then on the key ring itself, I put one of these big rings. Now, you may be asking, what is that for? Well, I have a pontoon fishing boat. and I'm a little up higher from the water. If you're in just a regular bass boat or catfish boat that's lower to the water, you can just reach in there and grab this, right? But I can't really reach down and grab this, so I need a ring. I need something I can hook to. So I put this big ring on there, and this is what I use. So whenever I see one that's bobbing and bouncing around, I put this down. I extend this extended pole. This is just you get this in the paint department, just a paint extended pole. And then I put a hook in the end of it there and glued it in. I don't know if you can see it there. But this is what I use to reach down from my boat down into the water. And I go down and I hook this ring, okay, like that. Then I'm able to pull that up till I can get a hold of the noodle, put this aside, and then I start pulling it in and net the fish, okay? So anyway, I broke two of them, and so I thought I would share with you how I rigged mine up, and you can rig yours up the same. The line, you may be asking, through the years I've used different types of line. I've used everything from heavy gauge fishing line, mono line, or braid, heavy duty braid. And then I went back to the hardware store, and I got this in the brick laying department. This is masonry line or rope, if you will. It's a 100-pound test. It's never broken on me. It is solid. It is very durable. So you can get a big roll of this at the just go in the masonry department and look for plumb line, as you know, for how they drop their plumb or pour their line on laying their brick. They pull this out through there and then lay their brick accordingly. Well, this is the line that I use for my catfish noodles, and it works fantastic. And so you may or may not want to use that, but you need a heavy-duty line, okay? So that's what I use. I simply just tie it off on the ring there. I put an anchor on it, which I'm going to put a different anchor on the one I'm going to build here, but there's an anchor that kind of helps drop it. Then I tie it off on a swivel. The main reason I do that is when I wind these up and then drop them back out, sometimes they can get twisted, and this kind of just helps everything untwist down there and keeps the bait nice and straight down on the line. So I put a swivel. Then I have, I think this is a 70-pound or 100-pound. I got heavy gauges I could find. Just a little clip there, and I clip that on the swivel. And then I put my hook on the clip there, and the hook that I use is I get these at Walmart, just the Team Catfish. This is an 8/0 size hook that I put on there as well, okay? But let me show you how I do it. And remember, this is a way. You do it however works for you. But for those of you that may not know how to do this, or you've never seen it, or you'd like to experiment with it, here's how I do it, okay? So let's just start rigging one up here that broke on me. Once again, this is 3/4 inch PVC with a pool noodle. I forgot to mention that. The pool noodle, I just cut, slid it on there, and I have some zip ties that I cinched it down as tight, tight over the 3/4 inch PVC pipe. And then, of course, it has the rebar in it as well. You can hear that. So my eyelets there, whenever I was pulling this and finally had to break, and what broke, the string did not break, but what broke was this. This was the weakest link, okay? It wasn't the string that broke. It wasn't this big circle ring that broke. It was this keychain ring that stretched out and pulled out and finally broke and gave away. So that was pretty kind of cool to see that. Anyway, that's my weakest link right there, and that's pretty doggone sturdy. So I've never caught a catfish that would break it, but I've got hung up where I've had to just pull it, so I didn't lose my noodle, and of course broke it. So the first thing I got to do is put my key ring on. So on the loop here, the first thing, I just open this up. And just circle it around there, and put the key ring on the PVC pipe that has the anchor, circle anchor in there, okay? Then the next thing I'm going to do now is put my big O-ring on there. Remember, you don't have to do this if you're down on the water. You can just reach over and grab it. I am not. I have a fishing barge, a Bass Pro Sun Tracker fishing barge, and it's all rigged out for fishing. And so I have to use this and kind of stretch down. So that's what this is for, this big O-ring. I put it on the key ring there, okay? So we'll put that on the key ring. And there we are. Okay. So now I'm ready to tie on my line and then put my anchor, my sinker, and my swivels and my hook on, and then we'll be ready to go. So once again, go to the masonry department, get this masonry line, and I'm just going to pull off a big segment of it. This is a 6-footer. I label mine at the top. This one is a 6-footer. This one here is a 4-footer. And this other one that broke is an 8-footer. And I've got them labeled right there at the top so you can see that. So I know whenever I'm reaching down and I know the depth of water I'm in, I can drop them accordingly. So I just pull off a big section. I'm going to pull off more than I need. This stuff's super cheap. So it's not like I got to save every little inch of it, but I pull off more than I need to give me plenty of room to tie off for my sinkers and for my line and everything. So we're going to go about 3 of these here, okay? And then I just cut it. Just cut the line. Now, one thing I always do, as soon as I cut it, and you don't always need to do this on this braid here, but I always like to, because I don't want it to flare out on me. I like to burn that off there. You can come here and just tie you a knot like this and make you a loop. And that knot is not going anywhere. So just make you a loop like that. It's a quick and easy way to do it. Whatever your favorite knot is, you tie your knot. You do you, okay? And this is just how I do mine. Remember, it's not the way, it's a way. And then cinch it up there good and tight. Bingo. I guarantee you that is not going to break off of there, okay? So that's how I do my knot there. And I'll leave that tag in. You can cut it shorter if you want, but it's really no big deal. All right. So leave that there. Now, the next thing I want to do is, this is going to be a 6-foot piece, or a 6-foot drop. Okay, so I'm going to come down about right here. Probably about 4 feet down or so. And here I'm going to tie a knot. And the reason being because I'm going to put a slip, I'm going to put my anchor on here, my little weight. Tie 2 there. And remember, you do your knots. This is just how I do it. If you got a quicker, faster, easier knot, leave me something in the comments, let me know. Drop a video in there, whatever the case may be. But that's kind of what I do. And then, whoops, wrong way. I'll do about 3, just so it's a good size knot, so I don't want that weight. That piece of lead, I want to secure it there. And I'll show you it's going to pin it. It's going to pin that weight right there. All right, so there's just me a good knot that's in my line. And what I'm going to do with this now is put my lead on, okay? And this just helps it sink faster. Now, I've got these little egg sinkers. Now, these are 2-ounce lead sinkers that I have, and it's just going to help drop the line down. One of the little tricks that I do before I try to thread my line through there, my rope through there, I take just a small little Phillips screwdriver, and I just open up the eyelets there on each end of the egg sinker, and it just helps me get that through there a little bit better. So here we go. Like I said, I got way too much line out here, but yep, there we are. Perfect. Now I'll run that up to that knot, which is there, and yep, you guessed it. I'm going to tie off another knot on this side of it, and that sinker will never move. It'll be pinned right there. Once again, if you got a fancier knot or a better way, you do you. I'm just sharing with you how I do mine. The main thing is we get catfish in the boat, right? Without anything breaking. And this has worked very well for me. I'm going to do one more. One more knot there. Bingo. So here we have it. We've tied our line on with our key ring, with our O-ring, tied our 100-pound masonry line to it. We pinned our 2-ounce egg sinker to it. All right, so this is a 5-foot table. So I know I've got 5 foot of line on here already down to my weight, my egg sinker. So I want to go about another foot or so down, and then so it's a little more than a foot, but right there is where I want to tie off my swivel. Okay, so here's my swivel. I ordered these off Amazon. These are 75-pound weight, if you will, swivel. So it didn't break in the swivel when I broke those other two off. It broke on the keychain. And now I just want to tie this off. And being this line is so good to work with. It's almost like a wax film over it, and it gets real. When you cinch it, a knot in it, it just doesn't move. So I just tie a knot off. And it's worked for me very well. Remember, you do you. Whatever knot works good for you, you do you on that, okay? And then I'm going to tie it off one more time. All right, and then we'll cut this tag end off. And I've never had that break on me. Now, that's not how I tie off my crappie lines or my bass lines, but you can get by with it on these noodles, especially using this rope. Okay, and then I always burn that in right there. All right, so there's my swivel. All right, from there, I put my little latch on there. Bring it around to the small end. Bingo. So there's my latch on there. Can you see that? All right. Then the next thing is my 8/0 hook. This is a circle hook. These are fantastic. I don't know what size hooks you guys use, but I've been using these for years, and they work fantastic. And voila. So this one now is ready. Ooh, that hook is sharp. This one now is ready to get back in the water. All right. So whenever I get them out to wrap them up, I simply just bring it down and right around the wire tie there where I connect it. It's got a little where I cut it off is where I loop it around there, and then I just wrap it. The sinker is going to stay right there. And then I just stick the hook in the noodle. That one's ready. Okay? So that's my pool noodle. 3/4 inch PVC, caps on the end, piece of rebar in there about 6 inches, 8 inches long or so. Drop that in there. I've got my eyelet bolt drilled through here and screwed in with a big washer and a nut on the inside of this. Key ring, circle ring, 100-pound masonry line, down to a 2-ounce egg sinker, down to a swivel, down to the clip, and then an 8/0 hook. Okay? So there you are. There's my pool noodle, and we're going to be dropping these here real soon, and I'll show you a video of the catfish we catch with it. Okay? All right. God bless you. Happy fishing to you and yours. If you have any questions, leave me a question in the comments. I'll be glad to respond and share with you what works for me. I've got to build another noodle here, and then I'll be ready to go back out with all of my noodles ready to hit the water. Okay? God bless you. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, ring the little bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. Okay? All right. God bless. Have a great day.